financial statements, and this is the balance sheet for the city that's on the full accrual basis. You'll notice the primary government includes the governmental activities of the city, the business type activities, and then you have the component units, which are under the umbrella of the city, but not directly. These are what we call discretely presented component units, and those being the Industrial Development Board, the City Board of Education, and the Enterprise Library. And we've provided that information. We're required to provide that information there in summary form, in addition to the city's governmental activities and business type activities. And the business activities are being the sewer and the Enterprise Waterworks Board. You'll see the assets of the city. The total assets were nearly $172 million for the governmental activities and just under $76 million for the business type activities as of 9/30/2024. You'll see the cash position there, which is unrestricted. You'll see your receivables, almost $10 million, your restricted cash and cash equivalents of over $42 million, and then your capital assets, the non-depreciable capital assets being a big number there, $42,677,000, the bulk of this being the construction in progress as of 9/30/24, including the Parks and Rec project, the City Hall renovations project, the airport hangar project, and the streets project. So all those total about $38.5 million of that $42,677,000. Excuse me. Moving down, you'll see deferred outflows or resources. Included in that, you'll see a new item. I say a new item, an item that has not typically been in there, the $9 million related to the Economic Development Agreement, that being with the Enterprise State Community College. You'll note that obviously that agreement was executed back in October, I believe, of 2022. However, there had to be certain conditions that were met, that had to be met in order for the city to be obligated under that full agreement. The agreement being $10 million over a 20-year period. Well, during the fiscal year 24, the city became obligated because all of those required conditions in that agreement were met. Thus, the city booked a $9 million deferred outflow and a corresponding $9 million obligation or liability in the city financial statements for the remainder of that agreement. Now, as you know, that's $500,000 per year, and so each year this deferred outflow will be reduced by $500,000, and the obligation will be reduced by $500,000 over the next 18 years. So that's the new item I wanted to point out in that part of it. If you flip over to the next page, you'll see the liabilities of the city, your accounts payable, bonds payable. You'll see your total liabilities were $155,462,533 for the governmental activities and almost $50 million for the business type activities. Your deferred inflows relate to the property tax roll assessment at the end of the year, and primarily the deferred inflows related to other post-employment benefits. Then at the bottom, you'll see the net position of the city. The total net position as of 9/30/24 was $24,778,864, which was an $8.6 million increase from the prior year. The business type activities had a $27.2 million net position as of the end of the year. If you flip on over, you'll see the statement of activities, which details out the on the accrual basis, the full accrual basis, the revenues and expenses by function within the city, as well as the business type activities. You'll see the statement of activities continues on to page 25, where you'll see the general revenues. The general revenues of the city on the full accrual basis were just over $51 million for the governmental activities, and at 818 was the change in net position for the governmental activities was $8.6 million. In other words, that's the number I shared with you earlier. And the business activities, the change in net position was a positive $3.6 million. So a total for the primary government, an increase in your net position of just over $12.2 million. One thing I would like to point out is the investment earnings. You'll see it near the bottom there. For the governmental activities was $2.9 million. I think the year before it was $2.5 million. It's where you've invested the unspent bond proceeds and earned interest on that money. And in fact, you've almost covered the interest that you paid in debt service for the prior 2 years. So you're to be commended for that as well. I'll flip on over to the next page and note the balance sheet for on a fund level basis, which is the modified accrual. Just shows your total assets and liabilities, deferred inflows. We don't have deferred outflows on the fund level basis. You'll see it's provided here for the general fund, capital improvement fund, the debt service fund, and non-major funds. For the general fund, as of 9/30/24, your total fund balance was just under $35 million. That's the highest number I've seen for the City of Enterprise, I believe, ever. That was a $6.2 million increase. I've shared this with you before, I think, that the GFOA, which is the Governmental Financial Officers Association, which is kind of the standard setter for preparing financial statements, they have recommended that a city government of this size maintain 2 months of operating expenditures as a unassigned fund balance. And in your case, for the expenditures for fiscal year 24, that would have amounted to about $8 million. And you can see here the unassigned fund balance is $13,135,000, which indicates you're in a strong position there as far as the GFOA is concerned. You skip on over to
Bruce, you said the recommendation would have been about 8 and we're at about 13 for that specific metric.
For that metric.
Which my understanding is much higher now, right, Leanne? If we were to take a snapshot today, it's higher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is towards as of September 30th.
Of last year, yeah.
Right. Yep. Again, on page 28, this is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance at the fund level. Again, for each of the different fund types. You'll see your total revenues were $54,385,388, which was a $4.1 million increase over the prior fiscal year. $1.2 million increase in your taxes, which totaled $38,121,877. You see your expenditures there. The total expenditures were $48,018,850. I'll note that your capital outlay was just over $5 million. Your debt service there included that came out of the general fund relate only to new items being a lease liability for a right-to-use lease asset, which was the refueler truck out at the airport, and then a subscription liability, which is something GASB 96 included, where you're required to report the balance of an agreement where you're paying over time for subscription service. In this case, it is the police department's subscription to the software related to the body cameras with Axon. And so that is included in there. But your General fund excess revenues were just over 6.3 million. You see your capital improvement fund there with its revenues, being intergovernmental, which really are grant monies, and then interest money, and then your capital outlay of over 26 million, for the various capital projects incurred during the year. And then your debt service fund, of course, includes your bond payments. And you can see there the principal that was paid on those bonds and the interest, 2.8 million in interest. And so, overall, you'll see that deficit of total governmental funds being 21,266,000, but obviously, most of that attributed to the capital outlay on the capital projects at a fund level. But your general fund, again, general fund increased by 6.1 million.
Now, help me understand that. So anytime you sell bonds to finance a project in 1 year, and then you expend those bonds in a following year, you're going to show that deficit, right?
Correct. You're going to show
And
first thing you're going to show is the proceeds,
Yeah.
and that's going to create a balance, a fund balance. And then as you spend those funds, it's going
If
to
they happen in
reduce.
different reporting periods, you
That's
really
right.
need to look at all of them to get the whole picture.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And that's where it's good to look at the fund balance.
Yeah.
What's there at the end of the year. That'll give you a cumulative balance. We'll move on to page 31. The page 31 through page 33 are the budgetary comparison schedules where we show the general fund budget versus actual. You can see there at a more granular level, your total expenditures were within $15,000 of budget for the general fund. And then on the capital improvement fund is on page 33. You'll see the budget amounts versus the actual amounts there. Page 34 is the statement of net position for the proprietary funds, which are your business type activities. The Waterworks Board and the Sewer Fund, obviously we audit the Waterworks Board separately. There's separate issued financial statements for that, but we include it here as a blended component unit, and then the Sewer Fund is under the city's guidelines and under the city's umbrella, so it's included as well as a business type activity. You'll see the assets and liabilities on the next page of these activities. The net position of the Waterworks Board was $21,737,000, and the Sewer Fund had a $5.5 million net position as of 9/30/24. The next page shows your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance, or changes in fund net position for those proprietary funds. And you can see the change in net position for Waterworks was $3.4 million, and the sewer system had a $228,666 positive change in net position. The next page shows you the cash flows for your proprietary funds, and it just shows the cash coming in, where it came from, and where it was used during the year, according to operating activities, non-capital financing activities, and capital and related financing activities, as well as investing activities. The next page is a continuation of that. Page 39 just shows you the statement of fiduciary net position for the municipal court fund. That's a zero balance fund there. The next section, which is on pages 40 through 94, are the note disclosures, which give you details about one, the significant accounting policies of the city, the financial statements that we just covered. It gives you more details about the various items in those statements and the accounting policies surrounding those items, whether it's accounts receivable, capital assets, or long-term debt. And then it gives you the activity during the year under, for each bond issue. It gives you the activity for the capital assets as far as what went in and what was capitalized to depreciate out of construction in progress. And so those details are found, like I said, in those pages from page 40 to 94. And then there's disclosures about the retirement plan, very detailed disclosures about the retirement plan, about your OPEB plan, which is your post-employment benefits, about various risk and risk management related to the city, about related organizations. And then finally, the final disclosure covers the commitments as of 9/30/24, the majority of them being capital project related. As far as what you still have left as of 9/30/2024 related to those capital projects. Pages 95 through 101 are what we call required supplementary information, which is detailed information and covers information over the past several years. We're supposed to provide up to 10 years of information on your pension plan and OPEB plans. And then pages 102 to 103 provide you with the various non-major funds balance sheets that are all lumped together under the statement of net position or statement of fund balance that we've gone over earlier. That just shows you the detail of the various funds that are combined to come to those totals. Page 104 to 114 provides you with detailed schedules of the combining revenues and expenditures, again, on a detailed basis. Then on page 115, I will direct your attention to that, is the Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control over Financial Reporting and Compliance with Other Matters. This is where we have in the past identified any deficiencies that we've noted during the audit regarding internal controls and regarding the process procedures around internal controls. We've had findings in the past, and honestly, over the last few years, those findings have dwindled down, and glad to report that this year we have 0 findings that we needed to report on. And so, again, I commend Leanne and her staff for that effort in making that effort to get to that point. That doesn't mean there's not any out there, but that we didn't find any during our audit. Okay, I think the prior year we had 2, but those were addressed and corrected during this past fiscal year. The next page, you'll see an independent auditor's report on the compliance for each major program and on internal control over compliance required by the Uniform Guidance. This is our audit report related to what we call the single audit, or the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. We're required to issue an audit report on that anytime there's the expenditures exceed $750,000 of federal awards, and that was certainly the case in this fiscal year. This also is an unmodified opinion. We had 0 findings related to the CFA for 9/30/24. The CFA concludes on page 119. On page 120, we had required to provide a schedule of findings and question cost, and you can see there are no findings and no question cost identified during our audit. The next page, we are required to show you the prior year findings. They were corrected. These were findings related to the financial statements, not related to the federal awards. And in the prior year, there were no findings related to the federal awards. Now, the next page shows you the schedule of expenditures of federal awards, or the CFA. And that just gives you the expenditures of those federal monies that came from the different federal agencies. And then pages 123 to 124 provide you with note disclosures about this schedule. That is pretty much concludes what I wanted to cover about the financial statements. You should get a copy that includes the required communications. There are some that are bound that do not have that in there, that are considered for public consumption. These have the required communications, which are communications to you and to the city's management regarding accounting policies and conclusions around judgments during the audit. It includes the audit adjustments that were provided by Leanne and her staff after we began the audit, and it provides a copy of the management representation letter. But again, there's bound copies that have this in it, and then there are bound copies that do not. But I'll not go through those today. There's not anything, in my opinion, that would be noteworthy to discuss with you right here. So that concludes what I wanted to cover for this year's audit.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Averett?
So, I'm not a CPA, but just looking at, looking at all of this, I get the impression that the city finances are in good shape, and maybe doing better than it has in previous years. Could you speak to that just a little? You may have already spoken to it, but it was in CPA speak, and I didn't get it.
Yeah, I would say, again, of course, we're just required to report on the financial statements and issue our audit opinion. But in looking at, again, based on what I see and compared to what the GFOA recommends, the city is in a very strong financial position as of 9/30/24. For sure, and as evidenced by the increase in fund balance. I mean, it's not like you're behind on your debt payments. I mean, there's already money set aside, funds available to pay the fiscal year 2025 debt payments. So I would say the city's in a very good financial position.
Yes, so, I mean, y'all issued an unmodified opinion with no findings. Of course, that speaks more to our accounting department, the controls we have in place to make sure
Correct.
that, and then aside from that, you've got the financial health. So, our revenues appear to be strong and growing. Our debt is manageable to the extent that our proceeds from our investments are covering our interest payments. And our cash balances are growing, meaning we're bringing in more money than we're spending.
Correct.
We're running surpluses.
Correct.
So all those things appear to be signs that we've got things heading the right direction. And I think our staff, certainly Leanne and her staff, and Mayor Jonathan, everybody should be commended on those things.
Correct. Yep.
Any other thoughts or comments? Your microphone's not on.
To a 7.8 to a 4.5. Just in years past, could you just briefly state why we should be, I guess, why this audit speaks to us differently? I know we got the unmonitored, what that means, the improvements. Like I think you mentioned about we got twos on maybe two things versus one, and that just in a layman's
Correct.
perspective for our citizens that might be listening. If someone was listening to a work session 2 years ago and it might not have sounded this way versus what they were here today, what they
Correct.
could go and tell their friends on the phone, per se, if they were.
Right, right, right. Yeah, there were, in years past, you know, say the prior year, there were a couple of findings that we had related to various accruals not being recorded. There were, you know, I think one of the findings actually had to do with filing the data collection form, which is part of the single audit, by June 30th. That was done this year. The issue with the accruals, we had no issues regarding accruals this year not being recorded. They have been recorded. So whereas maybe 4 years ago when you had, you know, of course, you know, Leanne and her staff have been here a little while now. There were issues that maybe carried over where there were checks and balances within the accounting department that were not happening, and that you know, led to misstatements that the auditors found, as opposed to the city's accounting staff finding those issues during the year and correcting them if there were any corrections to be made. In other words, there are procedures they are performing on a regular basis to ensure those things are taken care of.
All right, we're going to have to cut this off a little short. Did anybody else have anything we could, if we want to continue this conversation, we'll need to do it in staff reports, but does anybody think that's necessary, or is everybody happy?
I'm happy.
Okay.
It's
Thank you,
exciting
Mr.
news. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Everett. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Thornton. All right, so we will adjourn our regular meeting, and is everybody okay rolling straight into council meeting? All right, we've got 6:02, so I will call this council meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all members of the council are present. If you would, please stand with me for the opening prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have Senior Pastor Jamie Payton with us this evening? I see him back there with Grace Place Church is going to open us in prayer.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening, and God, this evening we just want to be here and be about your business and be about making decisions that are honoring and God glorifying. God, your word demonstrates that none of these elected officials are in a position because of their own deeds, their own ability, their own capabilities. They're there because you've put them there. You did that from the highest levels of those elected into government and to those to the lowest level. And their purpose, Lord, according to your word, is to protect the good and to punish the evil, to make wise decisions that are honoring to you. You instituted government, dear Lord. And we know this. And so, God, we also want to come to you and just say, as this meeting is opened up, is that I'm sure all kinds of things are going to be discussed here this evening. And none of us have wisdom that is worth anything. The type of wisdom that is worth something is godly wisdom. And when we lack, your word says that we ask you, and your word affirms to us that you are gracious and generous to give when we but seek your face and ask you. So that's what I ask for each of these elected officials here this evening. And God, as things are discussed, as plans are made, as decisions are made, that you would be here and that you would be the focus point, dear Lord, on all decisions. Let us be a God-honoring city and county, a place that is a light upon the hill for others to see. God, above all else, we thank you for the gospel of Jesus Christ. We thank you for the blood that was shed at Calvary's cross, paying the penalty for sin so that man would have a way to be reconciled to holy God. And God, that wasn't the end of the story. The story ended with his resurrection on the third day, proving he's exactly who he is and who he said he is and accomplishes exactly what he came to do. And we thank you for that above all else. May we honor you with everything that is said, thought, and did this evening in this meeting. We love you. we praise you. We thank you for the blessedness of freedom and all the blessings you've bestowed upon us as a nation and as a country. May we honor your name, and may we honor the name above all names in heaven and on earth, and his name is Jesus. In his name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. All right, council, you have in front of you the agenda that we discussed in the work session just prior to this meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
I move to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the city council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the city council. I now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I now recognize Mayor Cooper for a presentation of pins to the newly crowned City of Enterprise Queens. Mayor Cooper.
First, I would like to say good evening to everyone. Tonight, we have the honor of recognizing our 2025 Enterprise Queens by presenting each one of them with a certificate and a City of Enterprise pin. These outstanding young ladies proudly serve as ambassadors for our city. You'll see them throughout the year representing Enterprise at events, festivals, and community celebration. Just a few weeks ago, many of them joined us at the Watermelon Day at the Farmers Market. They helped serve slices to our guests and even jumped into the fun. Some of them placed in the seed spitting, rolling, and eating contest. Ladies, you are all shining examples for other young people in our community, and we are grateful for the energy and enthusiasm you bring to every event. When your name is called, please come forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tammy Dort, and I am the City Tourism Director and Community Relations. And leading our court this evening is our own Miss Enterprise, Ella Catherine Gamble. Ella is a junior at Enterprise High School, where her favorite subject is biology. She enjoys cheering, reading, and holding drives to support her platform, Fostering Friendships. Ella Catherine, would you please come up here for a second before we give you your pin and tell us about your platform and how our community can help support your efforts?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ella Catherine. Like she said, I'm your Miss Enterprise. Thank you so much for having me speak with you today. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share a mission that has become very close to my heart, a service project that supports children in Honduras through something yet as simple, yet as powerful as a warm meal. Many of us wake up and go through our day with access to a kitchen full of food. We don't have to wonder whether we'll eat breakfast or lunch or dinner, it's just a given. But for so many children in rural parts of Honduras, that's just not the case. School lunch may be the only meal that they get. That's where Lunches for Learning comes in. This amazing charity provides food and kitchen support to schools in Honduras, ensuring that children not only get a meal, but they also get a chance to stay in school, to learn, and to work towards a better future. When I first heard about this need through my church, it stirred something deep in me. As I began to pray about it, God really placed it on my heart, not just the importance of feeding hungry children, but the deeper meaning behind it. He reminded me that just as we need physical food to live, we also need spiritual food. His word, his love, his presence. That truth shifted my whole perspective. Because when we give food to these children, we're not just helping them physically, but we are opening the door for them to grow, to learn, and to experience the love of Christ through the kindness of others. As some of you may know, I have a nonprofit organization called Fostering Friendships. I'll be working with First Methodist Church of Enterprise to collect donations and continue helping foster kids feel more comfortable moving through care. All children deserve to feel loved and supported through all seasons of life all around the globe. I've had the blessing to speak in front of my church community and you all today and share this mission, and it has been incredible to see the love that has already been poured in, but the need is still great and we can always do more. Today I want you to ask to consider giving, whether it's through a donation, helping spread the word, or even just keeping these children in your prayers. Every dollar we raise helps buy food, stoves, utensils, and everything needed to keep these lunch programs going. And as we give physical food to meet their needs, may we also remember the one who is the bread of life, the one who fills our hearts and calls us to serve. Together we can be the hands and feet of Jesus and show these children that they are seen, loved, and not forgotten. Thank you so much for listening, for caring, and being a part of something that truly makes a difference.
Well, thank you, Ella Catherine. What a worthwhile effort. And right now, we'd like for the mayor to, I'm going to move this for you. There we go. We'll put that on the table. There we go. Mayor, I'm going to give this to you to give. And Ella Catherine, if you'll step forward, we're going to present, the mayor's going to present you a certificate. Here we go.
This certificate is proudly awarded to Ella Catherine Gamble in honor of being Miss Enterprise 2025, in combination of a platform offering friendship to support foster children by providing everyday essentials that bring comfort, dignity, and joy. And with it well, I here too set my hand, all the seal of enterprise to be afflicted, 15th day of July, will you be Cooper Stevens, Mayor of the City of Enterprise?
Go. And then, Mayor, you have we are now going to bestow the official city seal to our Miss Enterprise. There we go. Well, thank you, Ella Catherine. All right. Good, join me over here. Up next is Teen Miss Enterprise, Janya JJ Jones. JJ is an 11th grader at Enterprise High School who shines in math, enjoys cheer, cooking, and shopping. JJ is also, and when I saw it, a pro at watermelon rolling. All right, JJ, let me see if I can get my fingers to work here. There we go. Mayor, there's a certificate.
Certificate of Recognition. This certificate is proudly awarded to Daniel Jones in honor of being named Teen Miss Enterprise 2025. And with this well, I am here to get my hand and cause the seal of the City of Enterprise to be taken in this 15th day of July. Will you approve the city?
All right. There we go. And Mayor, there we go. Now you get your official pin. These ladies have beautiful pins on all their sashes that you would see, so we're very proud to have them wear our city seal. There we go. Congratulations, JJ. And now I present to you Junior Miss Enterprise, Riley Marler. Riley is an 8th grader at Coppinville Junior High. Riley's favorite subject is ELA, and her hobbies include cheer, shopping, I like that one, and gardening. If you saw her at Watermelon Day, she was all in, from seed spitting to watermelon rolling. Of course, she did it all with a crown on. I don't think anybody else was out there doing that. Riley is a true champ, and we enjoy having her represent Enterprise. So, Mayor, have Riley's certificate here. Here we go.
Certificate of Recognition. This certificate is proudly awarded to Highland Mark in honor of being named Junior Miss Enterprise 2025. And with this flag, I am here to set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Enterprise to be affixed 15th day of July. Will you be Cooper City Mayor?
There we go. All right, Riley, and now you're going to get your pin. Oh, you got to stay there. There we go. All It's almost like an Olympic medal. I think you guys are practicing for that next level. Congratulations, Riley. And now I'm honored to call forward Petite Miss Enterprise, Eloise Dow. Eloise is a fourth grader at Hillcrest Elementary. She enjoys reading, dancing on the Stars dance team, and serving the community with her fellow queens. She's especially excited for the Christmas tree lighting at the Enterprise Farmers Market this year, which is December the 2nd, if any of you I would like to know. Eloise, we're so excited. And Mayor, here is Eloise's certificate.
Certificate of recognition. This certificate is proudly awarded to Eloise Dow in honor of being Petite Miss Enterprise 2025. Witness well by her business at my hand called to seal the Enterprise to be affixed this 15th day of July. Will you Cooper City Mayor?
There we go. Right, and Mayor, there we go. All right, congratulations, Eloise. And we are missing one of our queens tonight. She is our little Miss Enterprise. Her name is Bella Litherland. She is headed into second grade at Brookwood Elementary. Bella loves reading, gymnastics, dance, and horseback riding. If you missed it, she put her best foot forward in Dothan, showing us her shoes with, of course, the Boll Weevil monument on it. So they were truly unbelievable. If you haven't caught that, check out her social media. She was in a parade this weekend with her shoes, and she won honorable mention for those cool, unbelievable kicks. So we want to, she's not here this evening, and she might sneak in, Mayor, and we will get her then. But we'll hold that for Bella. Bella also will be representing our city, as will Ella Catherine, in the Peanut Festival competition. And last, and you've been so patient, and your feet don't even touch the ground, but not least, is future Miss Enterprise, Charlie Mills Ellis. Come on forward, Miss Charlie. Charlie is in first grade at Hillcrest. Her favorite subject is science, and she loves cheering, dancing, and fashion. She can't wait to ride in the Christmas parade. All right, there we go. And this is Miss Charlie Mills. There you go, Mayor. All right, we got one little, there we go. She has a bow there, sir. That's good. That's a crown and a bow. So we're truly Southern queens here in Enterprise. There we go. Congratulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to present to you your 2025 Enterprise Queens. We're so proud to have them represent our city, all of our events. It truly is not an event in Enterprise without our Enterprise Queens. One big round of applause, please. And we also have to do a photograph, so I'm going to bring you over here.
All right, thank you for that, Mayor. Congratulations to our queens. We're going to stay with the mayor and recognize Parks and Recreation Blake Moore for the presentation of certificates to players and coaches of the 9U USSSA Rec Baseball All-Star World Series Championship team.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council, and good evening, everyone out here. I want to apologize first because I just brought the looks department way down following the beauty queens here tonight, but I love coming to this microphone. Anytime I come to this microphone, Parks and Recreation, we're here to celebrate a championship, and tonight we are here to celebrate our 9U All-Star Baseball team. And I want to go over a couple of stats. I know our city administrator is a big stats guy, so I want to fill him in on some stats tonight. This team started out in region play in Wetumpka, Alabama. They finished with a 3-1 record and were runner-ups. Well, the way Enterprise Parks and Recreation does it, if you finish first or second in district or region, we'll send you to state. So these boys got sent to state. They went to the state tournament in Oxford, Alabama area, when they finished with a 5-0 record and became the 2025 USSSA state champions. But it didn't stop right there. These boys had bigger sights, bigger goals to achieve. And this is truly special when a team from Enterprise gets to go to the World Series. So they loaded up to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and away they went. While they were there, they scored 94 runs and only were scored against 26 times. They finished with a 6-1 record and wound up being your 2025 USSSA World Series champions. They beat a team out of Texas. Now, they say things are bigger and better in Texas. And while that may be true, there are some things here in Enterprise that are a little bigger and better. Namely, 9U baseball. People ask me all the time, you know, I run into people, I was in Orange Beach, Alabama last week, and I had something Enterprise on, and they said, hey, we know Enterprise Parks and Rec. Tell us how you guys do it over there. You got something truly special. And I want to say, hey, I've got a great team and a great staff and great support. But none better than make it special here in Enterprise are the people. And parents, I want to thank you. You know, you have a choice to let your child play in Parks and Recreation. And I want to thank all of you for making that choice to play Parks and Recreation. I see a couple coaches out here tonight, not only our all-star coaches, but coaches who choose to coach in our league. Les Hogan's here tonight, Ben Bow and Caleb Wimberly. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you and your support. And parents, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you. My team's here tonight. We got Superintendent Landon Adams, Tyler Kaiser, our athletic supervisor, standing right over here. Tyler went with them. Tyler was their chaperone in Baton Rouge. But Tyler was ready to come home. He's been there since last Wednesday. But Tyler, welcome to the club. I have went with the World Series team. Landon's went with the World Series team, and now you have gone with the World Series team. And Tyler, thank you for all your hard work. You started in January with baseball registration. It's a long season, and obviously this is the reward to see the smiles on these boys' faces and bringing home the trophy. So congratulations to all involved. So at this time, as we call your name, if you'll come forward and get your certificate from the mayor. Brooks Addy. Jacob Bowden. MJ Danner. Owen Goodson. John David Hogan. Parker Horn. Cade Jones. Carter Manning. Trenton Stinson. Graham Takis. Bryce Tart. Warren Wimberly. Our coaches, Ethan Stinson. Stephen Addy. Derek Goodson. And Jason Jones. Now, before we take our group picture, we do, like I said, we do things a little bit differently here in Enterprise. And, you know, the boys in Louisiana, you know, had some question marks and raised their eyebrows when we asked, hey, we need several rings. And they asked for what? And I said, we got a lot of supporters back home, and it's not possible. Just look around the city right now, and you can see the support from our city administration, from the council to the mayor, and what they're pouring into Parks and Recreation right now. So, Mayor, where's JD? JD, come here for a minute. Hogan, where you at? Mayor, on behalf of this 9U team, they brought you back a little bling. And council, don't get jealous. We got some on the way for you, okay? So, JD, if you'll present that to the mayor for me, sir. Players and coaches, if y'all will come up here to the front. Parents, you can come down and take pictures as well, and we'll get ready for a group photo.
Tammy, you taking the picture? You got it.
Remember, don't hold the shoe kit over your face. Hold it right under your Okay, council, if you guys will stand, it's allowed. All right, remember, don't put it right in front of your face, right? Hold it under your chin. Get out of the way. Moms, everybody looks good? All right, lean forward. Straight forward and smile.
All right, before we run off, don't nobody move. So keeping in the baseball spirit, everyone, tonight is the Major League Baseball All-Star Game over in Hotlanta. And as you know, one of Enterprise's own, who has played right here and came up through our Parks and Recreation program, he is currently playing with the St. Louis Cardinals, is Mr. Brendan Donovan. So tonight, we want to take a picture with our 9U World Series team and our coaches and our mayor and our council, wishing our very own hometown hero, Brendan Donovan, good luck in his first Major League Baseball All-Star Game tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Blake and Mayor. Congratulations to the kids and the coaches and the parents. So Little Miss Enterprise is here, I understand. So Tammy, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, can everybody hear me now? All right, guys. And again, we are so very excited for these young ladies. We want to welcome up Little Miss Enterprise, Bella Litherland. Bella, come on up here and meet the mayor. All right, guys, let's give Bella a round of applause. And Bella, we're so excited. We heard that you're going into second grade at Brookwood Elementary and that you love reading, gymnastics, dance, and horseback riding. And apparently you had some incredible, unbelievable shoes this weekend, didn't you? Did you win a prize? You did. I think. Well, did you win honorable mention? I think you won a prize. That's the main thing. I don't know how you didn't get first with boll weevil shoes. All right, so Bella, we are going to have the mayor present something to you.
She tells us to sign.
Now you get your official City of Enterprise pin. All right, you got a crown and a bow there. All right, big smile. There we go. Everybody, Bella, Little Miss Enterprise. There we go. And I'm going to take another little picture. Bella, we're going to get you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Tammy. So we're now to privilege of the floor. This part of the meeting where anyone in attendance tonight who wishes to address the council may do so for 3 minutes. If there is a public hearing on the agenda for the topic you are concerned with, please wait until that public hearing opens to address the council. If they choose, staff, mayor, and council will respond to your comments during the appointed times later in the meeting. Repetitive, disruptive, and disparaging comments will not be tolerated. If you are found out of order, your privileges can and will be revoked. Does anyone wish to address the council at this time? All right, I do not see anyone. We have staff reports. Are there any staff reports that were unable to be given during work session? Barry, I see your hand raised. Mr. Mott, our city engineer.
Yes, sir. So I had another staff member come today and said, "Can you see the light at the end of the tunnel on City Hall?" And I don't know if y'all drove by there the last day or so, but the plywood is coming up on the front of the City Hall. So the exterior renovations are currently underway. Talking to the contractor, we should have those things up and complete by the end of July. So we are still on schedule to wrap that thing up for ribbon cutting. I think it's the 11th of August. So I'm excited to have all you there for that ribbon cutting. There's been a lot of hard work and sleepless nights, but I wanted to let you and the public know that's watching on YouTube that the engineering department is currently moving from the farmers market back to their current permanent location at City Hall. So they started moving yesterday, and most of the staff moved today. So if any of the public's coming out to get building permits or working with the engineering department, we are now at City Hall. If you come in the main corridor right in the very front, as we talked about before, you've got on the far left, you have the revenue department, then you have the water department in the middle, and then you have engineering to the right, so right in the main corridor. So if they'll bear with us for a few more weeks, as soon as we get the front awning and all the coverage done underneath it, where we're not working over the public's head, we will open up the front doors to City Hall where people can come right in the front doors, which will be well welcomed, I'm sure. I've walked through City Hall a lot here lately, and the public seems to be very, very happy with the aesthetics, the appearance, the the way that they work with staff to have everything right there together for them. It is a little confusing right now, having to go in kind of by the mayor's door and work your way through there till we get the contractor through overhead, but it's for their safety not to be working over their heads. So I'm excited for that day to happen. But I just want to let everybody know that that did happen. Also, I wanted to let Ms. Rich, you brought up at the last council meeting about a dip on Daleville Avenue. We did go out there and look at that, and that was a sewer pipe that had started settling across Daleville Avenue. As of today, we have patched that place. It is a lot better than what it is. We're going to watch that over the next few months and see if it continues to occur or if we need to go back and do more repairs there. But that was handled since last council meeting. I just want to report back on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mott. Any questions? All right, any other staff reports? All right, don't see. Did you have something, Mr. Tellos?
Mainly, I just wanted to see if we could re-engage for a couple minutes. I understand we had some audio-visual difficulty early on in the work session.
Okay.
And so people at home may not have heard about the resolution on the agenda regarding economic development.
Okay, so that would be, council, if you want to turn resolution 071525A, authorized to begin negotiations on economic development project. Okay.
So as we talked about in the work session, that specifically, and I think you have a copy of the resolution with you.
We do.
But it outlines a minimum of 200,000 square feet of retail space along what I would call the southern bypass in Enterprise, with a nondescript area there that gives kind of a left and right limits from 84 towards Dothan to 27 South near the Good to Go. But specifically, that project, I believe, to be transformative to the city. So we talked about how not another Dollar General, not another chicken place or Mexican restaurant or whatever that might be out there on social media. This would be a big deal. I think you had asked some questions about the development company or.
Yeah, Willow Capital Partners are named in the resolution, so that's obviously public record. I was just curious what other projects maybe in the state that they had worked on or are currently working on.
So the most recent that I was familiar with dealt with a project of I would say similar scope in Albertville. And so they have done other projects in the state of Alabama as well as other states in the southeast. So this is a partner that has a performance and track record that shows that they can get a project off the ground from start to finish. This is something that I know that the council set in their priorities. The South Side bypass, redevelopment of Rucker Boulevard, and the downtown revitalization of our downtown area. Since I've been on economic development and now in my current role, I know that you have been looking at that for at least 9 or 10 years. This is as close as the city has come to figuring out a way to develop that southern bypass. A lot of times they look for rooftops, they look for traffic count, but we are landlocked. In most places that people that want to be in our city and want to be a part of our community want to be by the metrics. So this transformative project would be one that would attract an anchor tenant along with smaller tenants in that lineup that would address specific concerns about leakage around things that people are buying outside of our market. So some of those areas.
So leakage would be, I know what it is, but for everybody's benefit, it would be when I have to leave this community and go buy it somewhere else.
That's
because
right.
It's not available here.
Yep. So good example, like we have some sporting goods, but a lot of times I have a 9-year-old son that plays a multitude of sports. they don't always have what he needs, or he's a lefty, so they might be out of all left-handed baseball gloves, for instance, at wherever we sell baseball gloves in town. So I'll have to leave this market to go somewhere else to purchase
That would be
those.
leakage.
Correct. And so typically, they measure those things for communities by size, both in population, trade area, and then economic factors. So what's your median household income? How much discretionary income do you have? How much goods and services by NACE code, North American Industrial Classification System. So they break all that out and say, you should sell X number of automobiles, Y number of sporting goods. And so there are certain areas that we have in our economic development analysis fallen short, where we have people leaving the community to go, and when they leave the community, oftentimes they eat at establishments wherever they went to shop. They spend a day there, they might spend a night there. And so we're losing out on compounded sales for even the brick and mortar stores that we have currently in town. Because once they're in that other market, oftentimes they're there for hours or days.
So this spells out an anchor tenant of 120,000 square feet, plus another large tenant of approximately 50,000 square feet, and then a few at 15,000 square feet for a total of 200,000 square feet. The assumption would be there would also be additional out parcels and things like that.
That's correct. So these are minimum square footages. You had asked about size. I think 200,000 square feet's probably pushing a double the size of, say, our Walmart in Enterprise.
So it's a lot.
It's a significant amount of retail space for sure. And then with that, the anchor tenants, whoever would occupy those larger parcels, would be the draw to set more inline stores. So 200,000 could become 300,000. That's a floor. And then other restaurants or auto parts stores or whatever it is, that might want to be there in that synergy. But alone, they couldn't draw the type of traffic in retail sales by themselves. So they look to cluster.
Gotcha. Council, did we leave anything out that we talked about earlier all right?
Okay.
That cover it?
I think so, sir.
I think you did mention, you asked about the developer, some similar projects possibly that they've done.
Yes, so
places.
most recently, like I said, and I don't have the name in front of me, you said Willow Point?
Willow Capital Partners.
Capital.
Willow Capital Partners.
Their most recent project was in Albertville, Alabama. And so I've looked online to see, that project. So that started several years ago in the city of Albertville. And I think they have broken ground on that project now and are underway. So very, very similar type things. But like I said, you look not just for the person that says, hey, we can do this. You want to see past performance, that they've actually had success to do that. And Willow certainly has.
Any other questions, council? Which we'll address that resolution later in the meeting. If anything else comes up, you can bring those questions then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other staff reports before we move on to old business? All right, I do not see any. So we're going to move on to old business, which is, first one is a public hearing and consideration of the ABC license request for BSC Smart LLC. We'll now call for a public hearing prior to consideration of a request from BSC Smart LLC, doing business as BSC Smart, for a retail beer and retail wine off-premise only license located at 621 Bowlville Circle, Suite 9. This hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against? All right, I see no one. I will now close the hearing and call for consideration of approving this ABC license request.
I move to approve the ABC license request as submitted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to new business. We've got several Planning Commission recommendations to introduce here, so I introduce for the record a recommendation from the Enterprise Planning Commission to approve the following request for the rezoning of the property. A request by JLW Creative Solutions, LLC, to rezone 2.35 acres from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to RT Townhouse Residential District located on Becky Lane at Wyndham Drive. A request by JLW Creative Solutions, LLC, to rezone 4.28 acres from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District located on Wyndham Drive. A request by Galen Co. Incorporated to rezone 1.21 acres from Agricultural District to R1 Low Density Single Family Residential District located at 103 Fountain Crest Drive. A request by Industrial Development Board of the City of Enterprise to rezone 10.23 acres from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to M2 General Industrial District located on Neil Metcalf Road and Veterans Parkway. A request by the Industrial Development Board of the City of Enterprise to rezone 3 acres from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to M2 General Industrial Development located on Hickman Road near Progress Avenue. I introduce ordinance 071525, JLW Creative Solutions, LLC, Rezone 1. I introduce ordinance 071525, providing for the rezoning of 2.35 acres owned by JLW Creative Solutions, LLC, from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to RT Townhouse Residential District, located on Becky Lane at Wyndham Drive. Additionally, I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for August 19th, 2025. We'll now introduce ordinance 071525A, JLW Creative Solutions, LLC, Rezone 2. I introduce ordinance 071525A, providing for the rezone of 4.28 acres owned by JLW Creative Solutions, LLC, from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District located on Wyndham Drive. Additionally, I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for August 19th, 2025. We'll now introduce ordinance 071525B, the Galen Co. Incorporated rezone. I introduce ordinance 071525B, providing for the rezoning of 1.21 acres owned by Galen Co. Incorporated from AG Agricultural District to R1 Low Density Single Family Residential District located at 103 Fountain Crest Drive. Additionally, I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for August 19th, 2025. We'll now introduce ordinance 071525C, Industrial Development Board of Rezone 1. I introduce ordinance 071525C, providing for the rezoning of 10.23 acres owned by Industrial Development Board of the City of Enterprise from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to M2 General Industrial District located on Neil Metcalf Road and Veterans Parkway. Additionally, I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for August 19th, 2025. We'll now introduce ordinance 071525D, Industrial Development Board Rezone 2. I introduce ordinance 071525D, providing for the rezoning of 3 acres owned by the Industrial Development Board of the City of Enterprise from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to M2 General Industrial District located on Hickman Road near Progress Avenue. Additionally, I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for August 19th, 2025. We'll now review and consider Resolution 071525, the designation of blighted properties for 2024 CDBG demo grant. I introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 071525, designating the following abandoned and/or vacated residential properties as blighted and authorizing the expenditure of 2024 CDBG funds to demolish and clear the properties. The owners of the properties have voluntarily executed a right of entry permit and temporary demolition and clearance easement on each respective property, and the Alabama Historical Commission concurs with the demolition and clearance via a letter dated June 9th, 2025. Those properties are 100 Dixie Drive, apartments 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36, 125 Pleasure Street, apartment 1, 125 Pleasure Street, apartment 2, 212 Pleasure Street, 105 Lowry Street, 105 Smith Drive, 111 Holly Hill Road, 143 South Carroll Street, 435 Glover Avenue, and 405 Doster Street. Do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 071525.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 071525. Is there any further discussion?
Got Perry.
Yes, sir. Thomas Hardy did give you an update on this. I want to give you one piece of information on this. We did secure the grant back in '24. It was a $450,000 program. $400,000 of that was CDBG grant. But on April the 15th, at the previous council meeting, you went ahead and authorized the staff to go ahead and bid all phases of this project. So this is a little different than you've done in the past. I just wanted to remind you of that. Typically, we would come here and ask you permission to go to bid, but you've already given us that permission. And because this program is a first-come, first-served type program, this is a way for us to put this back in front of you to say these are the properties that have signed up, have given us permission to go onto the properties and given us a temporary demolition concurrence, and also let you know that the State Historical Commission has given concurrence for that as well. So we're going to use this process moving forward. These projects will go to bid, and when we receive a bid and we make a recommendation to award, we'll bring that to this body for approval of the award and authorize the mayor to execute a contract with a low bid contractor. So I just want to remind you this process is a little bit different. Mr. President, just want to give that clarification.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mott, for that clarification. Any questions on that? All right, we do have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 071525. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider Resolution 071525A, authorized to begin negotiations regarding economic development project. So introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 071525A, authorizing the mayor and city administrator to begin negotiations for incentives to be granted by the city in connection with an economic development project. Do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 071525A.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 071525A. This is, of course, what Mr. Tolos just updated us on and what we've been discussing several work sessions prior. Is there any further discussion needed on this? Everybody understand where we're at on this? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider street lighting requests. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Thomas Hardy, Assistant Director of Engineering, to install the following street lights. 5 31-watt LED fixtures for Azalea Common Subdivision, Phase 2, at an annual cost of $442.80. 1 40-watt LED light fixture on Annette Street off North Rawls Street at an annual cost of $127.32. 1 31-watt LED light fixture on East Emerald Drive off Reynolds Street at an annual cost of $88.56. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the street lighting request as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the street lighting request as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We now introduce an ABC license request for Dickey's Barbecue Pit. I introduce a request from D&D Enterprise LLC, doing business as Dickey's Barbecue Pit, for a restaurant retail liquor license located at 847 Bowlville Circle, Suite 117. Additionally, I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for August 5th, 2025. No action on that tonight. Mayor, do you have a report for us?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to begin tonight by taking a few moments to reflect on the tragic flooding that has devastated parts of Texas and New Mexico. Just today, the bodies of the grandmother and her 5-year-old granddaughter from Alabama were recovered. Our hearts go out to their family and to all those affected by this disaster. Let us take a brief pause in honor of their memory and in support of those still holding on to hope, the first responders on the ground, and the teams leading recovery efforts. Thank you. Even if, as we grieve for others, we are reminded how precious life is and how important it is to recognize moments of joy, unity, and pride in our own community. I want to once again commend our Enterprise Queens, our rec baseball players, and their families. We're incredibly proud to have you represent our great city with such energy and enthusiasm. I would also like to congratulate our Chief Financial Officer, Leanne, and the entire finance team. This year, the City of Enterprise received its first clean audit in many years. This was a major accomplishment that reflects on our ongoing commitment to responsibility, financial management, and transparency. I'm proud of the work being done behind the scenes to ensure our city remains financially strong. Also today, Jonathan and I had a chance to meet with Mrs. Leanne and her team, and of course we congratulated them on the job well done. This is how things are done here. We work as a team. Teamwork pays off. Tonight, the City Council also authorized me to begin formal negotiations with Willa Capital on a proposed major commercial development. This is an exciting step forward as we work to expand enterprise retail options, grow local job opportunities, and enhance the quality of life for our residents. I remain committed to serving the people of Enterprise, and I'm proud to support the efforts of this council as we continue working together to move our city forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Rich?
Certainly, ditto Mayor Cooper's congratulatory remarks for our queens and our champion, all-star champions, and our finance department. I expressed to Ms. Swartz, it's been a long time coming. When I joined the council, the word audit was just mind-blowing. So didn't really know what I was stepping into with that, but just over the process, just learning a lot with that, just as a council member. So I don't speak for Eugene and Turner and even the others, but I know when they were on the council, when I joined them, and it was a lot of work put into place to make sure that the department was structured with the best that we could get to tonight's report. So super excited about that, super excited about the resolution that we passed, authorizing initiation of negotiation for some amazing things here. The name retail and rich really go hand in hand, so I'm sitting back. I'm going to hope for the best, for something amazing for our city. So thank everyone for coming out tonight.
Mr. Goolsbee?
Well, I have served on the council for almost 9 years now, and this was the first time in my experience when we had a financial report that we didn't have any deficiencies, and I think that's remarkable. Leanne and her team, thank you. The possibility of a new development coming on the south side, a shopping center, I think that is great news for our city. Glad to see our ball team tonight and our queens. Everyone have a good evening. Thank you.
Mr. Padgett?
Well, I've lost my voice, but it feels like we're winning here tonight, especially going through the planning session through the council and just listening to all the reports. It's a reminder that while progress may seem slow, it's happening. And many things that we've been talking about for years are actually coming to fruition. we've been talking almost the entire time I've been on the council about revitalization of Rucker Boulevard, and we've taken a step forward there and getting that conversation started to see what that can look like. One of the major things that we wanted to do was repave streets. We've repaved a ton of streets, and still more to go. And now there's way more streets that you can drive on in Enterprise that you don't spill your coffee than not. So from nuisance properties to all the improvements in the Parks and Rec, the soccer complex, the Weeda Street Park, the outdoor fitness center that was discussed tonight, all of these things, it's not just things we go and cut ribbons in front of, but it's things that really improve life for our citizens, and I'm thankful to have been a part of that. Also like to join everyone in congratulating the Queens, the 9U Baseball All-Stars. Proud of these young people representing our city. And I have to say the biggest thing that excites me tonight about what we've heard and done in this council is for the nearly 5 years I've been on the council, we have talked from almost day one about the south side of the circle. We've talked about the congestion on the side that everybody wants to go to, the side that everybody wants to shop at, trying to move it around the circle. We've got plenty of land. We just can't get people to go to those places. And tonight, it just feels like a major step forward by authorizing the formal negotiations on this potential 200,000 square foot retail development. And not just one or two stores like we've seen in the last few years, a little thing here and a little thing there, but a major development with stores that, while we don't know the exact makeup, the ones that we have heard about, we can't talk about yet, but I promise you it's stuff that the citizens have been begging for the entire time that I've been on this council. And so, it's way more than just being able to mark a checkbox off, but when I joined the council, I did it because I wanted to do things for the city. I wanted to see the city grow. I wanted to see the city progress, and it feels like at times that you take one step forward and 3 steps back, and it just can't get that momentum that you want. But if this comes to fruition, all the work for all the last 5 years have been put into this, and prior to me coming to the council will be well worth it. Not just in the quality of life for the citizens, but, the fact that we're not having people leave town to go shop somewhere else. The sales tax stays here in Enterprise. All the things that were discussed tonight. I don't want to just repeat everything that was said, but, new revenue, new jobs, new growth. And while that may not appeal to some people, I think it's excellent news. If you're not growing, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. So there's no such thing as sitting still. And we can look around at other communities around us and see those that refuse to move forward, and they have moved backwards. And that's not what I want to see for Enterprise. So I'm excited about the progress we're making. And finally, congrats to Leanne and her staff, the rest of the finance team for the clean audit. That is just amazing. We don't tell the staff often enough how good of a job you guys are doing, but doing your job behind the scenes, you're not up here on this stage that everybody gets to see, but your job behind the scenes makes us look good. And so thank you for doing a good job. Thank you for making our job look easy, because honestly, I listen to a lot of your advice when I make decisions financially. So just to say this, Enterprise is moving forward. It's not by accident. It's not by luck. It's because those of us in this room, from the council to the mayor to the city staff, keep showing up and keep plugging at it, and just keep pushing forward. So thank all of you for all of your hard work, and have a good night.
Mr. Johnson?
Wow. Thank you for everyone coming tonight. Thank you for all our community that's online watching. Again, congratulations to our queens. They represent us well out at the Watermelon Fest the other day. 9U baseball team. Can you imagine being 9 and under and go to Baton Rouge and come back with a big ring at a World Series? It's just amazing. And then they have Brendan Donovan at the All-Star game. That's exciting for our town. I can't say enough about our staff and Leanne and her team and all our staff. I get excited every time I go down and visit one of the departments. I put our staff, our team up against any other city, whether it's Birmingham, Montgomery, or any of the others. They care. They care. We are a family, and they show it all the time. Walking through the new city hall down there and talking to the folks behind the counter there, it's just amazing. And standing back and listening how they take care of the customers. And I've already heard some great things from folks about how they like the facility, how it's easy to get into out there. But this project, I've just been so excited about this. I keep seeing things on Facebook about, Dollar General's, Jonathan mentioned it, Mexican restaurants, chicken, you name it, barbecue or whatever. But this is exciting, and I can't wait to see how busy our Chamber of Commerce is going to be, Miss Aaron, back there, of what's going to happen. And not only are folks staying in town, but folks on the west of us or south of us will be coming. And I just told folks to have patience. If I had that magic wand, I'd do it. But we don't. Just be patient. Things are coming. Roads are getting fixed. Water, sewer lines are getting fixed. And these great folks, every time I call Barry or I call Glenn, I call Thomas or whoever it might be and say, hey, can you look at this street? Where can we put it? They're right there. And then the other thing is when we pass the Tier 1 retirement system, we are now very competitive. We are now keeping folks here, and we're already getting a list of folks, senior type, in other Tier 1 areas that want to come to Enterprise, and especially for our law enforcement, our first responders, fire, those folks out there. It really meant a lot, and I thank everybody on the council for helping to make that happen. It's been a long time coming, but it happened. But again, I'm just busted. I wanted to stand up and cheer, do some pom-poms, whatever, but the thing is, Enterprise is growing. It's going to be out there, and people are going to say, wow, what are they doing? Like Blake said, what are you doing there in the Parks and Recs? Well, it goes all the way through every department. From our city attorney, everyone down, city administrator, thank you. And this council, when we put all the team together, if you remember, back 4 or 5 years ago, revamped everything. And I don't want to lose any one of them. I'll go out and beat up anybody that wants to steal them from us. But we've got the best team. There's no I in team. They know. I love each and every one of them. Thank you. God bless.
Yeah, thank you, and certainly ditto everything that's been said. I know we've gone a little long tonight, but I do have a bit of a soapbox to get on myself, and this is probably the last time y'all will ever hear me on my soapbox because my term is coming to an end. But I do want to. I think this audit tonight was timely. The audit report, of course, we always want them sooner, and there's reasons we don't get them until the summer. Usually because we're waiting on other entities to report them. But I think this was certainly timely tonight because, I've actually gotten several questions this week about the city's finances and everything. And, like Greg said, we don't necessarily speak CPA up here. We listen to a lot of CPA speak. But I do speak layman's terms and financial, language. And basically what we heard tonight is the city is in the strongest financial position it's been in, certainly in decades. I'm not going to go back and say forever because, I don't know that, but we are in extremely strong financial position. Our debt is being easily managed. It's going to be paid off. We're keeping that debt under 20 years, so, we think that's important to keep the life of the debt shorter than the life of those assets that we're borrowing. Our cash position is growing. It's increasing. We've got over $35 million in the bank that is unrestricted. Now, we've got more than that in the bank, but $35 million of that is unrestricted. We've got a strong AA credit rating, which certainly puts us at the head of the pack as far as our peer communities around the state and nation. You know, and I want to get back on that debt picture. I mean, everybody, you know, certainly if you're interested in politics, you're always going to say, we're going to get out of debt. You know, here's a little secret. Debt is just a fact of life in the municipal finance world, certainly at the state level and, you know, as we all know, at the federal level. So, you know, let's talk about what this debt is funding. You know, the other option is to not have these things and to let somebody pay for them today and let somebody in the future enjoy them, or we can get these things that we need now. So let's talk about what our debt is covering. So, you know, these are things like Enterprise High School, Hillcrest Elementary School, Cobbinville Junior High School, at least 3 schools. Everybody remembers the huge security upgrades and storm shelters that we added to all our schools. That's part of this debt that everybody wants to talk about. Roads, we've resurfaced a full 33%, a third of the roads in the last 4 years. We've got new recreation facilities. We've got basically a new city hall and a new police department. We've got 2 new firehouses in town. Some of this debt went to economic development projects such as the veterans, the VA home, water projects. You can't ride around town without seeing new water lines going in the ground to replace first-generation water lines. Sewer projects, wastewater treatment plant upgrades. These are generational projects that this council and previous councils have borrowed on, and yes, we acquired debt to do that, but these are generational projects that have put this city in good shape from an infrastructure standpoint. These are things the next administration and the administration after that are not going to have to do because we've done these things. Like I say, generational type projects, and you know, to characterize anything, to characterize our financial shape as a city, anything other than strong and stellar, and our debt as anything but manageable and responsible is just patently false. So I will stand on that record, and we will close with that and adjourn until 5 p.m. Tuesday, August 5th, in work session in this room. We will see you then.